Ultraman Orb. Ultraman Orb is a wandering warrior of light whose true human form is Guy Kurenai, originally from planet O50, and his story begins when he and his rival Jugless Juggler climbed the sacred Crusader's Peak to be judged by the mysterious Voice of Light, which basically acts like a cosmic "Are You Worthy" test, and, spoiler, Guy passed while Juggler did not, leading Guy to receive the power of light and become Orb, gaining his first form called Origin the First, along with the powerful weapon Orb Caliber that lets him transform and fight evil across the universe. After obtaining this power, Guy didn't just sit around feeling cool, but instead traveled from planet to planet as a migrating bird of the galaxy, protecting civilizations and collecting elemental powers like fire, water, earth, and wind to strengthen the Orb Caliber during his journey. Over time, his original form evolved into the stronger Orb Origin, marking his growth as a true Ultraman hero. And despite his calm and sometimes mysterious personality, he carries the heavy responsibility of the light he was chosen to wield, proving that becoming Ultraman Orb wasn't just about getting flashy powers and a cool sword, but about being worthy of protecting others. Though, let's be honest, having a glowing sword that solves most problems definitely helps a lot. Ultraman Geed. Ultraman Geed is a unique Ultraman because unlike most heroes who are born naturally, he's basically a science project gone right, surprisingly right. His human form is Riku Asakura, a teenager who lived a normal life on Earth without knowing anything about his true identity. Imagine finding out you're a superhero and also related to the universe's biggest villain on the same day. Talk about stress. He was artificially created using the DNA of Ultraman Belial by Belial and his ally Keifukuide, making Geed essentially Belial's cloned son rather than a naturally born Ultra. After the massive disaster known as the Crisis Impact nearly destroyed the universe, Geed was born sometime afterward and grew up on Earth completely unaware of his origins. Riku eventually discovers the truth when he finds a hidden base and is given the Geed Riser along with Ultra Capsules, allowing him to transform into Ultraman Geed by combining the powers of Ultraman and Belial. Yes, he literally uses his dad's evil energy and turns it into hero power, which is kind of the ultimate "I'm not like my father" moment. Despite being created for a dark purpose, Geed chooses to fight for justice and protect Earth, constantly struggling with his origins, while proving that destiny isn't everything. Ultraman Geed became an Ultraman not by birthright, but by being engineered from evil, and then deciding, nah, I'll be a good guy instead.
Ultraman Tregear. Ultraman Tregear is a former Ultra from the Land of Light who didn't exactly wake up one day and say, "I want to be evil," but more like, what if everything is meaningless? Originally, he was a normal Ultra and a talented scientist working in the Space Science Technology Bureau, and he was also the childhood best friend of Ultraman Kero, whom he admired a lot. As a kid, Tregear was curious about unusual things like darkness, fear, and loneliness, while Taro represented light and heroism, basically making them the ultimate opposites besties duo. Over time, however, Tregear started feeling left behind as Taro became more popular and successful, and his own beliefs about justice began to break apart. He eventually left the Land of Light, becoming more isolated and questioning whether light and darkness even mattered at all. His turning point came when he discovered an ancient sealed entity called Grimdo, a chaotic godlike being. Instead of running away like a sensible Ultra, Tregear basically said, sure, why not, and allowed Grimdo to merge with him through his color timer, transforming him into a fallen Ultra. From that moment on, he abandoned his old identity and became Ultraman Tregear, a being who spreads chaos across the universe, proving his belief that light, darkness, and even justice are kind of pointless, which is a very dramatic way of saying he took curiosity way too far. Ultraman Rosso. Ultraman Rosso is one of the main heroes from Ultraman RB, but long before he was a giant glowing superhero, he was actually just a guy named Rosso, a humanoid alien from planet Sanja, who grew up with his siblings Blu and Grigio in a war-torn environment where their childhood was less playing games and more professional mercenary training. The siblings were raised by an organization called the House of Bakubarba and were used for dangerous missions, basically making them highly skilled fighters, but also walking trouble magnets. Eventually, after experiencing the consequences of their actions and discovering a more peaceful way of living while helping people on another planet, they began to change their outlook on life, proving even ex-mercenaries can have a redemption arc. The real turning point came when they reached a place connected to the Ring of Light on planet O50, which granted them the power to become Ultramen using RB gyros and crystals, officially turning Rosso into Ultraman Rosso. However, his story doesn't end there, because after he was eventually defeated by a powerful monster, his powers didn't just disappear, but were passed down 1,300 years later to a human named Katsumi Minato, meaning Rosso basically said, "I'm done, your turn," and clocked out like a legend.
Ultraman Blu. Ultraman Blu is one of the main Ultra heroes from Ultraman RB, originally a human-like being named Blue who later gained the power of an Ultraman. And he is also the younger brother of Ultraman Rosso and older brother of Ultrawoman Grigio. His origin begins on planet Sanja, a war-torn world where he and his siblings grew up as orphans raised by someone named Baku Barba, basically turning them into highly skilled fighters. Over time, they were sent on dangerous missions, including one on planet O50, which is where things got very interesting. While facing a powerful monster they clearly had no chance of defeating, classic Ultraman moment, a mysterious entity known as the Ring of Light appeared and chose them, granting Blue and his siblings the RB gyros and crystals, allowing Blue to transform into Ultraman Blue. So technically he didn't apply for the job, he just got selected by cosmic destiny, like a surprise internship, except the job involves fighting giant monsters. After gaining these powers, Blue and his siblings began acting more like heroes instead of assassins, eventually being recognized by a larger alliance in space. Long after Blue's death, yes, he did die, rough career path, his Ultraman power was passed down to Isami Minato in the present day, continuing his legacy as Ultraman Blu. Ultrawoman Grigio. Ultrawoman Grigio is a unique Ultra warrior from the Ultraman RB series, and unlike most Ultras, her origin is actually a bit wild and kind of ironic. She literally started out as a monster before becoming a hero. Her human host is Asahi Minato, the younger sister of Ultraman Rosso and Ultraman Blu, and she eventually becomes their Ultra sibling too. Basically, she's the little sister who said, "I can do it too," and actually did it. Her origin begins with the power of Grigio, which originally evolved through monster forms like Grigio Bone, King, and Regina, all tied to energy from planet O50 and special crystals. During the events of Ultraman RB the movie, Asahi transforms into Grigio Regina, but she struggles in battle because, well, turning into a giant armored monster is cool but not always practical when fighting stronger enemies. Just when things look bad, the spirit and light of Saki Mitsurgi reaches her, unlocking her true potential. At that moment, Grigio Regina literally cracks open, and Ultrawoman Grigio emerges from inside, marking her evolution into a true Ultra. After becoming an Ultrawoman, she gains healing and energy abilities and helps her brothers and other heroes in battle, even forming Ultraman Groob through fusion. Ultrawoman Grigio went from monster form side character to full-on Ultra hero, proving that sometimes your final form is just your glow-up arc taken very seriously.
Ultraman Taiga. Ultraman Taiga is a young Ultra from the Land of Light and the son of Ultraman Tara, which basically means he was born into greatness. No pressure at all, right? His origin starts as a talented but still inexperienced warrior trainee in the Intergalactic Defense Force, where he trained on a distant planet and tried to prove himself as more than just Tara's son. He had a strong sense of justice, but was also a bit reckless, often jumping into danger before thinking things through. As he grew, Taiga formed a team called the Tri-Squad with Titas and Fuma, showing that he believed in teamwork, even if he sometimes acted like the hot-headed leader who definitely didn't read the manual first. At one point, after receiving the Taiga spark from his father, he was sent to explore other worlds and become stronger by forming bonds, which is basically Ultraman's version of go outside and make friends. However, his journey took a dramatic turn when he and his team fought a powerful enemy, got completely overwhelmed, and were turned into particles of light drifting through space. Those particles eventually reached Earth, where Taiga bonded with a human named Hiroyuki Kudo, allowing him to be reborn as an Ultraman, fighting to protect Earth. Through this bond, Taiga matured from an impulsive rookie into a true hero, still energetic, still a bit stubborn, but finally proving he's more than just that guy's son. Ultraman Titas. Ultraman Titas is one of the Ultra warriors from planet U40, known as a powerful yet wise fighter with muscles so big they probably have their own gym membership. His origin actually starts in a pretty dramatic way. His parents were members of the Heller Army, a group that went down a dark path and got exiled to the Dark Nebula. After Titas was born, his parents decided, yeah, maybe let's not drag the kid into our villain arc, so they sent baby Titas away to planet U40 in a capsule with a note basically saying, please don't grow up like us.
On U-40, Titas was adopted by Commander Zamius and raised alongside his adoptive brother, Mattia. Wanting to become strong like Mattia, Titas trained every single day, building both his body and spirit. Eventually, he joined the warriors of U-40, but when a war against the Heller army broke out, things got intense. During a battle, Titas hesitated and couldn't transform, which led to tragedy, as many warriors, including Mattia, were fatally injured. With his dying breath, Mattia reminded Titas that strength is meant to protect others. That moment finally pushed Titas to overcome his fear, perform his Ultra change, and become an Ultraman, defeating the enemy monster. From there, he continued to grow stronger through many trials, eventually earning recognition as a true warrior of U-40. So yeah, he didn't just become Ultraman overnight. He had to unlock it through courage, heartbreak, and a lot of emotional training.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching until the end. I'll be back with more videos, so make sure to like and subscribe.